So earlier on in the year, the 8th generation of Pokemon games were announced, Pokemon Sword and Shield, set to release on the Nintendo Switch late 2019. So far, not much is known about these games. What we do know is that the region is called Galar and is rumoured to be based on England in the UK, which personally I find quite interesting since I live in London myself. We also got a look at the 3 starter Pokemon, a grass monkey, a fire rabbit, and a water lizard tadpole thing. Other than that, we don't know much about these games. As with every set of new Pokemon games, there's always the topic of what fans hope for there to be in these new games. So here are 10 things I want in Pokemon Sword and Shield. I'd like to mention that these things are what I personally want, so if you disagree or have your own wish list, then please leave a comment saying what you want for Pokemon Sword and Shield. With that said, let's get started. A different kind of rival. So I don't know about anyone else, but I'm getting a bit bored of the friendly rival thing Pokemon games have been doing for a long time now. I think ever since Ruby and Sapphire, every rival has been a best friend kind of person, and while this was a nice change back then, I feel it's become a bit boring and overdone now. I want something different. I wouldn't mind going back to the antagonistic sort of rival that we had in the first 2 generations. I want someone who feels like a rival. Someone who A, poses a challenge, and B, that I want to beat. Also perhaps they could do something completely new, like make the rival a sibling, like a brother or sister that tries to outdo you as a trainer, so your parents will be more proud of them or something like that. Or maybe the rival is part of the region's evil team. That would be different. Like a evil protege sort of character who's the yang to your yin or something along those lines. Another thing I want is some character development. Like maybe you and your rival start off not liking each other, but end up, by the end of the story, becoming close friends. Or vice versa. As long as it's not just another friendly character who's a bit of a pushover, I'll be happy. No compulsory legendary before the Elite Four and Champion. In some of the Pokemon games I think, you face and battle the star legendary Pokemon as part of the compulsory progression of the game. Often the game gives you a Master Ball as well to ensure you can definitely catch the legendary if you want. I don't have a problem with this, unless it happens before you battle the Elite Four and the Champion. Then I feel it cheapens that last challenge of the game. Suddenly the Elite Four and the Champion become a lot less intimidating, unlike they should be in my opinion. I mean sure, they are some of the best trainers in the region, but I have the region's legendary Pokemon on my side. I'd much rather that the legendary Pokemon is faced after you have dealt with the Elite Four and the Champion. That way you actually have to train a good team of Pokemon to be able to beat them. Note that I also said compulsory legendary. Optional legendaries that you have to go out of your way for, I think are okay, such as Zapdos, Moltres and Articuno in the first generation Pokemon games. A dark type gym. This should be an obvious and popular idea. There's never been a dark type gym yet. We've had a few dark type Elite Four members in the past, but no gym leader. I know some people online have made videos and such explaining why there hasn't been one, saying things like dark type is OP, but I think it's time for a dark type gym. More challenge and less hand-holding. So I've made this point already a few times about how I want the battles of the game to be more challenging. After the extremely easy Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, I want a Pokemon game I can't just breeze through. And yes, I do know Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee were supposed to be very easy as they were meant for newcomers, But even before those games, X and Y was very easy as well, and Sun and Moon was a little bit harder, but only towards the end for me. I know a Pokemon game can't be that difficult as it's meant to be for everyone, including kids. And thinking about it, even the older games are a lot easier once you understand type advantages and all that. But I want some challenge, especially from the supposed bosses of the game. Make the notable battles and characters such as gym leaders, your rival, the leaders of the evil team, harder than the normal trainers. Another thing I wish for in Sword and Shield is for less hand-holding and less linearity. I felt X and Y and Sun and Moon had quite a bit of hand-holding, telling you where to go half the time. I want to explore and find my own way, especially like in the first 4 generations. In-depth story and more interactions. In terms of story, I'd say Black and White is my favourite. I loved the more interesting storyline that questioned the morals of the Pokemon world and how all the characters interacted with each other. The gym leaders didn't just stand in their gyms all day, they got involved with facing Team Plasma. So did your rivals, and there was character development in there as well, especially for Bianca and N. Sun and Moon also had a lot of interesting story interactions and character development, so I hope this is something they continue to do in Sword and Shield. More serious evil team. Team Skull and Team Flare ended up being a lot better than I expected them to be, especially Team Skull. Still, I'd like a team in the next Pokemon games to be less goofy and more of a threat. Like with my rival, I want some satisfaction from beating them and stopping their plans. Continuity. I think it was Sun and Moon that had Professor Oak's cousin appear in it, and that was a really nice touch. I also liked how the game mentioned about the Kanto region a lot. It makes the Pokemon world feel kind of connected, with little bits of continuity like that. But what I really would like is more returning characters. I loved how Blue and Red were in Sun and Moon, and that's something I would like to see in Sword and Shield. Specifically for myself, I really want to see the Kimono Girls return. You know, that group of dancing women in Johto that use the different evolutions of Eevee. Seeing as there's been a few new Eevee evolutions since then, it would be cool to see them return with more members to battle. Difficulty settings. I previously mentioned about how I want the game to be more challenging, but also I understand how the game has to be accessible to a younger audience as well. I think a good answer to this is to have difficulty options. I know most Nintendo games don't really do this, but I think Black and White 2 did it, and it made the game a lot more interesting for myself. It added some replay value and made the game more fun. In terms of a harder mode, you could have the levels of the trainers slightly higher, or smarter AI for the opponents. More post-game content. Again, I think this is on most people's wish lists for practically every Pokemon game that comes out. My favourite Pokemon games, hands down, are Gold, Silver and Crystal because of the amazing post-game content there was. I know some people don't consider the second half of the game to be post-game, they see it as part of the main quest, but you get what I'm saying. You know, you beat the Elite Four and the champion and suddenly there was a brand new region. You could go back to Kanto, the region from the first game, and collect the badges there from the 8 gyms before facing Red, the trainer you played in the original game. It was double what a normal Pokemon game usually has. Now, I'm not saying Sword and Shield should do the same thing, but something fun to do after beating the champion would be great. More content is always a good thing, usually. Another quest to go on, aside from, you know, catching them all. New Pokemon types, or dual type combos. X and Y introduced a new type to the battle system, Fairy type, which forced players to rethink their battle strategies. No longer was Dragon as OP as it was before. For Sword and Shield, another new type would be something to make things feel a little fresh, or perhaps some new dual type combos. I don't think we've ever had a Bug or Dragon Pokemon before, or a Poison and Ice one. Just no more starter Pokemon evolutions that are fire and fighting, please. So there's my Pokemon Sword and Shield wishlist. Thank you guys for watching, I hope you enjoyed it. I would just like to say now, quickly, that I am on the recovery end of a sore throat. While there's no more pain, my voice is still a bit, it's very slowly coming back. Hopefully it wasn't that noticeable in the video. Anyway, if you disagree with anything I've said or want something else from these upcoming games, then comment and say. I'll be interested to see what you guys think. If you enjoyed the video, then please leave a like and subscribe if you'd like to see more content like this. Making this video has actually sparked an urge to go back and revisit the classic Pokemon games, Red, Blue and Yellow. So in the nearby future you can expect a video on those. But anyway, once again, thank you for watching and I'll see you in the next video.